Action inside the ring, your referee, Tony Weeks. And now, from the MGM Grand of Las Vegas, 12 rounds of boxing. This is for the IBF Lightweight Championship of the World. Introducing first, fighting out of the blue corner, wearing red, official weight 135 pounds. His professional record, 41 victories, including 28 knockouts with only 3 defeats. Originally from Parral, Mexico, now living and fighting out of Austin, Texas, the challenger, 2-time super featherweight champion of the world, Jesus El Matador Chavez. And his opponent across the ring, fighting out of the red corner, wearing white, trimmed with blue, official weight, also 135 pounds. His professional record, 34 victories, including 26 knockouts, with 4 defeats and 2 bouts even. From Atlantic City, New Jersey, presenting the reigning, defending IBF Lightweight Champion of the World, Leavander Johnson.
Hey, take it off. All right, let's go, center ring. Okay, gentlemen, you both received your instructions in your dressing room. Okay, if it goes right here, it's okay, anything black's gonna be low. Right here is okay, anything black's gonna be low. I want a good, clean fight. Obey my commands at all times, above all, protect yourselves at all times. Let's go.
Johnson, the title holder, opened as a slight favorite in this fight. He is now more than a 2-to-1 underdog. I'm curious, Jim, what's going to happen with the jabs, because when the short guy like Chavez has a jab, he can surprise a taller guy who has a jab.
Let's go back to the point you made before the bell. Odds have shifted dramatically in the last several days. Chavez becoming more than a 2-to-1 favorite over Johnson in what started out as an even fight. Why, Larry?
Well, primarily because of the backing of the Mexican fans here. Johnson is largely unknown despite his title and does not have much of a following.
And a lot of people in Las Vegas may remember in February of '04, Jesus Chavez's spirited 12-round effort against Eric Morales, which turned out to be based on one arm as he fought the entire fight with a very badly injured left arm.
Well, my personal observation is I think Leavander is a good fighter, but the fact that he doesn't use his height as much as he should. He starts off boxing and he gets engaged in the slugging. And Chavez is more adept, I think, at that game.
And one of the things Chavez told us in the meeting with regard to that is, look, I know everybody expects me to try to win this fight on the inside, going to Johnson's body, as he did there, but he said, I can jab him too.
But what I'm looking at, Johnson's head is right up in there, and it just seems to me the amount of time before he gets caught right on the chin.
Then the question becomes, does Chavez, a 130-pounder moving up, have the pop to hurt a 135-pound fighter?
I don't know, but I think he does, from what I can see right here.
For Johnson's part, he says, well, the guy has to come at me. This should be easy because he doesn't exactly protect his head. I should be able to land my jab and my right hand over the top.
For the most part, Johnson is keeping his head too high, though. He's got that much upper body movement.
And you saw Chavez crashing the left hook into Leavander Johnson's head. Chavez's aggression and multiple punch output has so far given him the edge. There's a good jab from Leavander Johnson, and another.
Leavander should stick to the jab and not try to bend in and start punching inside, because he's not that coordinated inside.
So he should stay out here and use his height and his length.
It's Larry Holmes type jab. Just stick to that. See, right there is where he's in danger, when he's in that distance right there where he gets hit.
Bodied off, Chavez bodied Johnson off and hit him with the right hand, then stepped in with the right hand lead, figuring I made contact before, I'll do it again. Good left hook by Leavander Johnson. Chavez comes back with his own left hook and wobbles Johnson with a blast to the midsection.
This is the wrong fight for Johnson, though. And exactly what I figured he would fall into eventually.
It's a fight that Chavez loves as long as he can take Johnson's punch.
It's a hell of a first round, folks.
Chavez is almost never in a dull fight.
Suba la mano, güey. Sube las manos. Lo único que no hiciste bien fue subir las manos. Sube la mano y sigue trabajando. Lift up your hands.
Keep working your jab.
Close your hands, listen.
Don't let him hit you. Move your waist. Feint him. He doesn't have no reflexes.
Recover. Make sure you got your hands back after you fight. Okay. And you got to step around off your shot. All right? Don't stand in front of me with these punches. Slide around, put your hands up. Okay? All right. Breathe. Relax your breathing. Take a deep one before you go out.
In recent years, the only setbacks Chavez has suffered have been to Floyd Mayweather and Eric Morales.
And in round one, according to CompuBox, Chavez landed 28 out of 79 punches, 21 of 47 power shots, and a small edge statistically in the round for Chavez. Johnson landed 20 out of 61 by CompuBox count. There's the jab, upstairs and to the body by Leavander Johnson. He heard his father and trainer Bill Johnson say, hey, you're going to stand in front of him, you better keep your hands up. And Johnson seems more disciplined about it now than was the case early in round one. There's Chavez again.
That's the distance he's at. As long as he keeps his distance between him, he works his jab, he's doing very good.
When Chavez gets close, though, he's able to throw more punches and land both to the body and the head. Good body shot by Chavez there. Momentarily freezes Leavander. Uppercut and a hard right hand. Leavander not able to get off at this range, needs to step aside. Chavez has him trapped.
He's got in a fighting mode now, and I don't think he can get back into his boxing mode.
Great body shot by Chavez with the left hand there. Jesus Chavez is able to dictate the action just the way he wants. Has to take some leather from Leavander Johnson, but at this range, Johnson is not able to extend and get his power.
Well, in every fight, everybody comes in with a pattern or a style that they would like to make the fight move into, and at this stage, it's moving towards more what Chavez wanted than it is towards what Johnson wanted.
A war of wills? Just the fact that Chavez is able to
absolutely
himself?
Absolutely. That was a left hook right there. I think he's in trouble.
And there's a blood from the right eye of Leavander Johnson.
That last left hook opened up a cut, and it looks like it could be a bad cut.
Johnson's been stopped in all three of his losses over the years.
Stop it, there you go.
By Miguel Angel Gonzalez, and by Gussie Nazaroff, and by Javier Jauregui. Two of those were in title shots. The win over Stefano Zoff in Italy earlier this year was the third title shot for Johnson.
Even when Johnson jabs, and he does have a good jab, his legs seem to be so stiff and rigid at the end of his jab. There's no flexibility at all.
This has been a very good round for Jesus Chavez, who hammered Leavander Johnson for a long stretch along the ropes and has cut him outside the right eye. Now Johnson's back at the range where he might be effective, but Chavez just rushes right past his jab.
Chavez looks much more fluid, much more natural with his movements.
Right hand body shot by Chavez. Now Johnson comes back with his own left hook to the body and takes a left hook for his trouble. Big round for Jesus Chavez.
The first round was terrific. The second round was terrific plus.
Meanwhile, next Saturday on Boxing After Dark, heavyweight showdown between Vladimir Klitschko and Samuel Peter. Plus, Miguel Cotto versus Ricardo Torres. Immediately following boxing on HBO, the behind-the-scenes documentary, Countdown to Tarver Jones 3. And October 1, live on HBO pay-per-view, the rubber match between Antonio Tarver and Roy Jones.
Relax, hold up. Check it out. Check it out. Check it out. You cannot, the ropes are not your friend. Okay. Remember that. In the center of the ring with your jab working, all right? We need a good round of jabbing to get yourself right back. All right? You hear me? Yeah. Put the jab in.
There's a wide open Leavander Johnson absorbing a left hook from the smaller challenger. Incidentally, from the ringside, we got word that they're calling the cut caused by an accidental butt. We didn't catch it. Perhaps our whizzes back in the truck can find that.
To me, it looked like it was one of those left hooks, just like what he just got hit with just there.
Well, we saw the perfect left hook in replay, but I didn't see any blood fly at the end of it. It was a relatively small cut, and Bill Johnson, the trainer, who also does the cut work, has closed it up for the moment. Chavez going back to work on the body. Leavander trying to find a way to get something done inside against a guy who's quicker and craftier in there.
Yeah, Leavander is really a warrior. I remember a few years back when I was training with Jeff Finnick, and we were in Atlantic City, and Jeff Finnick and Leavander worked out, and it was a war. It was just what you're seeing here is what we had in the gym. And Leavander likes to bang. Even though he's a tall guy, he really enjoys fighting.
Jeff Finnick never hit from anybody either.
No, it was quite a war, believe it. And after the fight, the workout, it was a war.
The way this fight is going, it's going to be who can carry on for the longest, a battle of stamina and attrition.
Jesus Chavez landed 33 out of 60 power shots in the second round. Leavander Johnson has given back a little better here in the third.
And incidentally, Johnson's corner did a good job of patching up the cut so far.
Oh, stop, let him up,
Good left hook by Chavez. Stunned Johnson and stunned the crowd.
The left hook has been landing continually all night.
He's getting a great look in there.
And he follows it with really good body work, Emmanuel.
Yes.
He's not a headhunter.
No, he's mixing up his tack very, very good. I just see the fight as it's the fight that he would dream of to me.
He's crowding Johnson, not allowing the taller, longer-armed man to extend his shots. And he's taking advantages of opportunities inside both to rip Johnson to the head and slam him to the body. Straight right hand by Leavander Johnson. Chavez doesn't back off. Good left hook inside by Johnson. Chavez ducking and slipping, trying to find another opening. Backs Johnson off. As soon as the bell sounds, we'll show you the moment in round two that produced that cut next to the right eye, or at least perhaps this is the moment that produced the cut. Let's see if this particular accidental headbutt might be the one. This again from round two. You've just watched round three. Again, no spray of blood. Hard to tell.
Yeah, it would seem like it was more on the cheekbone below the eye instead of above the eye.
All right.
I don't believe that butt caused the cut.
And watch your head going up in the air. When
More likely it was a left hook, so it would seem.
How you feeling, Chad? Good. Where that in swell at? Clean up the extra grease. Give me the grease.
Make him miss and then hit him. The jab and then that left hook. The right hand. Stand right firm. And then plant yourself so you can hit the left hook.
Atlantic City is about 45 miles from Philadelphia. Leavander Johnson spent a lot of time sparring in those Philadelphia gyms, and you could see it right here and just how tough he is.
You mentioned, Emmanuel Stewart, that this might be the fight that Jesus Chavez dreamed of, at least in terms of style. And here's a statistic that typifies the way Jesus likes to fight. He threw 79 punches in the first round. He was getting warmed up. He threw 105 punches in the second round. He threw 113 in the third.
Yeah, he's getting warmed up now. But Leavander is just such a determined guy. And as Larry pointed out, he fights with that tough street-type mentality. Never gives up.
Harold, how do you have it through three?
Okay, Jim. 30-27, 3 rounds to nothing. Jesus Chavez. Jim, let me say something. The only one that can call a, whether a cut is caused by a punch or a headbutt is referee Tony Weeks. He's the only one that's allowed to make that decision. Okay, that's number one. If this fight gets stopped because of that cut, it's before 4 rounds have ended, the fight would be a no decision and Johnson would keep his title. If it goes beyond the 4th round, we go to the scorecards. Jesus Chavez showing us 6-inch left hooks. I mean, you get maximum power when you throw that shot 6 inches. 3-0, Chavez.
I scored the first round even, 2 rounds for Chavez.
Emmanuel Stewart nodding on the first round even part. So we may have unanimity between Emmanuel and Larry on the scoring of an even round, and that's probably a positive sign for the future of the sport.
but with Chavez, even though I have him slightly ahead, he can never relax because Leavander is always throwing punches, and he's a good puncher himself.
Once again, remember, Chavez is the guy who's fought for 10 years as a 130-pounder. Johnson has spent his entire 16-year career fighting in the lightweight division, 5 pounds north. It may not seem to the layman like a lot, but in this sport, 5 pounds can be a very significant difference.
And I'd like to point out his natural size and bone structure is much bigger than that. When he's not fighting in the gym, he's usually 154 pounds.
Oh yeah, he has the height of a middleweight, and his body could easily have been the body of a middleweight.
That's correct. He's a very big physical guy.
Chavez doing some boxing here and beating Johnson to the punch with his jab.
He's just more fluid with his movement and his punches.
And he's also invested a lot more in body punching.
Like that. Double left hook to the body by Chavez, and you could hear the deep thudding noise as he dug those hooks in. There's another one. And Johnson reeled into the ropes off that one. Now Leavander trying to jab his way off the ropes, but Chavez has him crowded again and is ripping that left hook to the ribcage. Jesus Chavez, the smaller man, manhandling Leavander Johnson in the corner.
I tell you to use your legs to walk him out this way, and use your legs to walk him out when you're on the ropes. Okay. We're on. Yeah, you take it. You saying you're all right? We got to get it together now. Yeah, please take it. Take that. Step around. You look for your counter shots when you step around.
Jab, okay, and then the left. He's finished. You got him already. Yeah, and the uppercut.
Now this is what a real professional does. Crowds him, hits him with a good right hand, and comes back just like that.
And keeping his chin down all the time.
Yeah.
Average jabs per round. Chavez 10 out of 39 by CompuBox count. Johnson 5 out of 20. Chavez is just throwing so many punches and getting off so effectively that he's limiting Johnson's offense by forcing him to defend all the time. Straight right hand. Grazes the chin of Johnson. Chavez moved in and out that time before Johnson was able to get at him. Every once in a while, Chavez will step back and box to change the pace and give Johnson something else to think about.
Yes, he's changing up and showing his natural rhythm that he has, and moving and boxing, doing things from different angles, and then he'll go right back to inside fighting again, banging to the body and to the head.
Don't hold him, man. Don't hold him.
Good left hook to the body by Leavander Johnson. Taking a page out of Chavez's book.
Leavander's still a very dangerous man at this fight. He's never given up, and he's still punching with full power. His right hand is very good. He doesn't do as good with his hook, but he still has a very good right hand.
Chavez, for his part, says he's well aware of that. Straight right hand lands for Johnson. Now Chavez decides, all right, I've spent enough time outside getting hit by the jab and the right hand. I'll step back in and do what I do. And there he is, crowding Leavander again. Chavez with a hard right hand to the ribcage that time. Johnson cuffing Chavez around the head. A little tight left and right hand shots. Again, harder for Leavander to get his power because his arms are longer when they're fighting in close quarters like this. And here comes Jesus Chavez basically just bodying Johnson to the ropes one more time. Interestingly, though they're both a part of sports royalty in Austin, Texas, Larry, Jesus Chavez has never met Lance Armstrong. Maybe that's because as a fighter, he's never going to get on his bicycle. We presume it'll happen sooner or later. Good uppercut by Chavez. And he comes back with a straight right hand, mixing his punches up beautifully there.
Just when I thought that Johnson had his best round,
Chavez rallied at the end.
Yeah. You gotta avoid his punches. Make him miss. You gotta pressure him, but carefully. Don't let him get set. Keep your hands up. Yeah, be a little more loose. Jab and then uppercut and left hook and the right hand. Throw that left hook with all the power.
When a fighter takes the kind of gamble that Chavez has, which he calls the biggest gamble of his life, taking this fight for about half of what he could have gotten for a rematch with Hernandez, maybe it supplies a little bit extra incentive and energy, Emmanuel.
I think so. Otherwise, he said, I'm going to look like a fool everyone in every way. Losing the fight and losing money. And evidently, he feels good about himself in this fight. Maybe he's just tired of fighting the same guy over and over, too.
Well, he's had a lot of fights against good opponents. It's been a spirited few years for Jesus Chavez, who came back from personal difficulties early in his life, got the help of people who took an interest in him. As a high schooler in Chicago, he took a ride in a car with the wrong group of people, wound up spending 2 years in prison for robbery, and then because he was not a United States citizen, he was deported to Mexico. Began traveling back and forth from Mexico into the USA to try to pursue his boxing career, and eventually a group of people got behind him, supported him because of his great personal qualities, and now he has the opportunity to stay indefinitely in the United States and to continue to pursue his boxing career amid a documentary film, a book, and a variety of other treatments of his life story.
You know, this is a vicious fight of attrition. Both fighters, not even halfway through this fight, have absorbed more punches than many fighters do in whole fights.
And Leavander is fighting an extremely determined fight. He's fighting with that mentality that if I go down, man, I'm going down in a rough way. I'm not going down easy. And
which may bring some less significant import to the numbers that CompuBox shows us. where so far Chavez is throwing twice as many punches per round, landing more than twice as many punches per round, building up a big statistical advantage.
Those body punches are starting to take a toll on Johnson, it seems.
Well, he cannot get off the ropes, sir. I think his legs won't hold him in the center of the ring. He doesn't feel that confidence about it, so he's more comfortable laying there on the ropes.
And this despite the fact that you've heard his father, trainer Bill Johnson, say at least twice, the ropes are not your friend. Once again, the war of wills. Chavez is just using every bit of his body to steer Johnson to the ropes, and it's going to take a very thoughtful, willful effort every round for Johnson to get off those ropes.
Johnson does not have the coordination anymore in his body, but his mind and determination is just as strong as Chavez.
And Johnson got in a hard left hook that momentarily snapped Chavez's head back, but Jesus keeps coming.
Hey, man, you gotta watch some body shots. Take this here. Yeah, I got it. You gotta watch some body shots. See them body shots on the ropes, you gotta get your elbows right. That's what sapping you need. You got sapping most in that corner with that body. To your right. Give me that, to your right.
It's 7. Use it all. Use all your abilities. Avoid punching. Hit him until he stops hitting, throwing back at you.
Johnson slumped onto his stool after that last round from that body attack.
Well, Johnson landed 19 out of 76 punches in the round by CompuBox count. Doesn't sound like all that bad around. But Jesus Chavez was 44 out of 102, including 38 of 71 power shots. Those are big numbers. Harold, how do you have it so far?
Okay, Jim, 6-0, 60-54, Jesus Chavez. Jim, I tell you, Leavander Johnson is a gutty champion. He's not going to give up that title easily. But boy, Jesus Chavez just keeps waving in, landing the cleaner, harder shots, and clean punching is really 95% the scoring around. 6-0, Jesus Chavez.
Chavez was able to snipe a left hook from the outside, kind of shocked Johnson. Now Johnson goes back to jabbing to the body, a tactic he tried in rounds 1 and 2.
Johnson seems determined to stay off the ropes where he absorbed so much punishment in the last round.
Going to have to use his feet to do it. Not easy for a 35-year-old fighter in a fight like this.
That's a big factor in this fight. Johnson right now, I don't feel has the coordination, a lot of things that Chavez has, but he's fighting like a lot of veteran fighters just off of instinct. He just does things instinctively now without even thinking.
From what you've seen of Chavez, if he goes on to win this fight, do you think Barrera could compete with him at this weight?
I think so. I think Barrera is a very good technical fighter, and I still see a lot of flaws in Chavez's defense. He still gets hit fairly easy to some degree. I think Chavez would be a good fight at 130, which I'm quite sure Chavez could get back. I mean, this Chavez could get back down to in order to fight Barrera.
No, it would be at 35.
135-pound weight class is very interesting because the two guys at the top, Diego Corrales and Jose Luis Castillo, will be fighting each other again this year in a rematch of their incredible bout earlier this year. Clearly, so far, the fight of the year. Either one of those fighters could fight as a welterweight. In the case of Castillo, he might even be able to fight someday as a junior middleweight if he wants to. They are so big, much bigger than guys like Chavez and Barrera. But then again, of course, they shrink down to 135 to make weight.
For that one leg.
And that evens the scales just a little bit. One of the things Eric Morales may have learned a week ago is that it's a bigger step than he thought from 130 to 135. Chavez clips Johnson with a right hand upstairs. Hammers into the rib cage with a left hook. Then lands two more blistering right hands. Johnson's taken those clean punches pretty well.
Johnson takes a tremendous punch. And sometimes that can be dangerous to some fighters, too. They take too many punches because the ability they have to take punches.
Quickly now, let's go to the locker room of Marco Antonio Barrera, who's in the main event against Robbie Peete and Richard Steele with pre-fight instructions.
If he knocks his opponent down, he must go to the neutral corner, remain in the corner until I tell him to come out.
Si tu rival llega a caer con una caída legal, que te vayas a la esquina contraria y te mantengas ahí hasta que él te llame.
Claro. Do not, and I repeat, do not hit your opponent when he's down.
Repite que no le vayas a golpear a tu rival cuando esté en el suelo.
I want a good, clean fight. He's been a great champion, and I expect for him to fight this fight as he has done all the rest of them.
Quiero una pelea grande, limpia, buena, y espera que tú sigas peleando una pelea a tu nivel, a tu grandeza, que siempre has peleado.
Claro. Any question?
¿Alguna pregunta? No, todo bien. Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Emmanuel, we saw there the famous poker face of Marco Antonio Barrera. He fights entire fights without changing his expression. Is it a competitive factor? Is it intimidating to the opponent?
I think so to some degree, because nothing seems to upset him. The only time I saw him actually show emotions too much was with the Hamed fight.
In the last round.
He took his head and wrapped it.
When he was celebrating before the fight was over.
Yeah, and also with Morales, which is natural. But even in the Morales fight, I think he's always been cool, even though they've had a lot of heated debates during the fight and after.
Well, certainly he's less visibly emotional than Morales.
No doubt about it.
By a wide margin, but then most of us are. Total punches through 7 in this fight. Leavander Johnson, 116 out of 414 for 28%. Jesus Chavez is landsliding him, 270 out of 645, including 194 of 394 power shots, almost 50%. He's even out jabbing Johnson, 75 to 42, and this despite the fact that Johnson has the longer jab. Chavez is still landing sharply inside.
And even though he lands those powerful shots, Johnson returns something back.
Chavez is the 130-pound fighter moving up. Johnson is the legitimate lightweight. The one thing I think you're seeing here, again, and Emmanuel, we've seen it so many times, particularly in the lower weight classes, I think. The best investment in the sport is body punching. If you focus on the body for a long, long time, you are going to wear your opponent down.
Yeah, but it is interesting, though, even though Chavez has landed body punches, they haven't been really in the vulnerable area. It's been on the outer rib cage of Johnson, not where it really did as much damage as it could have, and he's never landed nothing up in the solar plex area. But it's always been on the outer edge of the, right around his elbows.
Whatever happens from here on out, Leavander Johnson has just taken a woeful beating. He's a lot of clean punches. Chavez may not be a high-power fighter, but he's a high-volume puncher, and that adds up.
That's it. Earlier, Larry, he's fighting off instinct. He does his things he's doing automatically. Even though he's getting hit, he don't even sometimes have to know what he's doing. He's just doing it automatically and instinctively.
Straight right hand was a bomb. Left hook just missed the point of Leavander Johnson's chin. Jesus Chavez is an all-out offensive fighter who puts every ounce of his body's force behind these punches. He may not be a big puncher, but he's a hard puncher. Quickly, let's go to Robbie Peete's dressing room for Richard Steele's final instructions to him.
You're going to fight for the world championship. In order for you to obtain the world championship, you must obey my commands at all times. You must fight under the rules and regulations that we're fighting for, okay? And that is keeping all your punches in front of the man. No low blows, kidney, or rapid punches. Keep them in front of the man. You score a knockdown, you must go to the neutral corner, remain there until I tell you to come out. And I repeat twice, do not hit your opponent when he's down. Do not hit him when he's down. Just go to the neutral corner and stay there till I tell you to come out. All right? Mouthpiece, keep it in your mouth at all the time. I want a good, clean fight. No wrestling, no pushing, just clean boxing. Any questions?
No, I'm fine.
Good luck.
Thank you.
CompuBox numbers in round 8 between Leavander Johnson in the white trunks and Jesus Chavez in the red. Chavez 43 out of 89, Johnson 12 out of 57, and in that round, it seemed for a moment that Leavander Johnson is finally beginning to slow down.
Yeah, and Chavez skipped out of his corner as though it was the first round.
Well, only one man has really clearly dominated Jesus Chavez, and that, of course, was Floyd Mayweather Jr., who is, to some degree, in a separate category from a lot of his competition.
Yeah, one of the top talents that's ever been in boxing, not just now. Very, very gifted athlete. But Leavander Johnson is not that, but he still is a dangerous guy with a guy lesser experience or lesser determination, because even though he's losing bad, he still is firing back power punches.
So is what you're saying here, Emmanuel, because you seem to be continually issuing a caveat that Chavez hasn't won the fight yet, are you saying that it's still possible Leavander Johnson's going to hit him with one big right hand and starching?
No, I don't think so. I don't think that's going to happen, but I'm just impressed that he's still punching back and has never just completely given up.
Is there a scenario for him to win the fight?
I don't see there's no way he's going to win this fight. It would have to be a devastating one-punch knockout, which I don't think is going to happen.
Unless Chavez would just hit a wall from all the energy and the punch output.
Haven't seen it before.
Well, it sort of happened late in the Mayweather fight, but as you mentioned, that was a different
league.
Yeah.
And one of the things, of course, that happens to opponents against Mayweather is sheer discouragement. It's not just physical. After a while, you realize there's nothing I can do. Hard right hand by Chavez. He's been able to land his right hand lead more or less at will the last few rounds.
Usually in the beginning, it was mainly the left hooks, because when they get in close, Johnson have a tendency to keep his right hand in a position like right there where he's vulnerable for left hooks. But for long range, he's been getting with the right hand leads. But right there, he's very vulnerable for left hooks in that position.
You hear Johnson grunting as he tries to get a little extra into the body punches, hoping to slow Chavez down. Thudding punches by Jesus Chavez. 9th round of a scheduled 12. How much longer can Leavander Johnson hold up under this punishment? Maybe he makes it all the way to the bell just because Chavez is a 130-pounder fighting in an upper weight class for the first time.
Johnson might be better off if Chavez could knock him out.
That's what I was saying earlier, guys. Like him to take a good punch can get hurt.
Shane Mosley against Jose Luis Cruz in the next fight. There's a look at Shane in his dressing room. Look at the body. Gone is a lot of the armor that attended that rib cage and those shoulders when he was fighting at 154 pounds. And we're back to something a little bit more like what Shane looked like as a lightweight and in his first career as a welterweight, where he was lithe, smooth, and a brilliant fluid combination puncher. He wants to do it again.
His body also. Clean up the extra grease on his head. We got it. Show him you're a champion. That's 6 hard minutes of fight. Dig down. Here we go. Domination's at him. Dig down, baby. All right. You gotta dig down, man. Not just go the fuck out to win this fight. You ready to get this fight? Set him up, okay?
Well, as far as we can tell, the import of the advice in Johnson's corner is bite down and fight harder. But in landing only 9 out of 53 punches in round 9, Johnson was clearly beginning to wither under the constant attack. Chavez was 35 out of 89. Harold, how do you have it so far?
Well, I tell you, Jim, I still got it a shutout. 9-0, 90-81, Jesus Chavez. You know, Jim, it's very interesting. Clean punching is winning this fight for Jesus Chavez, undoubtedly. Effective aggressiveness as well. But what bothers me about it is Leavander Johnson, at many points in the fight, stands straight up. And that's why Jesus Chavez hits him so easily. When Chavez throws that hook, he can't miss the guy, because the guy, just like he is now, very, very straight up, very, very easy to hit, and Chavez is just pounded on him. 9-0, Chavez.
When a fighter gets older, Emmanuel, is it harder for the fighter to bend at the waist and show flexibility?
Yes, it is. From the beginning, I've been watching his legs and the rigidness of his body, and that's been a big factor, whereas Chavez is just so fluid with his upper body movement, his legs, everything is just moving so automatically and easy. And it's an extra effort on the part of Leavander to make movements, particularly with his legs. Very stiff.
Larry, if this holds up and continues the way it's going right now, Jesus Chavez winds up with a title belt in the 135-pound weight class. Diego Corrales is the main man there. There's another guy with a belt named Juan Diaz. How will that belt position Chavez for future business?
That depends on Barrera, if he wins his fight tonight, whether he thinks he should fight him to try to win another belt. He could fight Juan Diaz if he's still standing. Another Texan with a belt. But I think you can't measure the satisfaction that he would have if he could win this, given the gamble he's taken.
Did he sign with Golden Boy for the specific purpose of chasing Barrera?
I don't think it was that. I don't think any promises were made to him. This was the promise made to him and the promise granted to him. One other factor, he says, in leaving Top Rank was that they had promised him if he beat Hernandez that he would get another shot at Morales, and when that didn't materialize, that led to his shift.
Could he become a logical opponent for Morales as Morales tries to rebuild his career if, for instance, the Pacquiao rematch doesn't really take place?
Or if he beats or if he should beat Pacquiao and want to fight him again, since he beat him again. So there'll be opportunities out there for him.
You know, legally and properly, the referee can't stop this fight, but it's one that if there's any way possible, I would like to have saw the fight stop, but you can't when he's fighting back and he still is the champion.
What it means, though, is that Leavander Johnson is, in all likelihood, going to take 6 more minutes of the kind of punishment we've watched him take for 10 rounds.
Terrible,
and that's not
terrible.
good.
No, it's not good.
He's going to fall by himself. Come on, you got to swivel, pivot, and with all your power. Let's be careful now and be quick and smart with your response and when you counterpunch.
You getting lazy. You ain't got nothing in the tank. Come on, man. You got something in the tank, don't you? All right, drop that chin and work, man. He's trying to punch the combination.
Listen, need a knockout. You hear me? Let's do this. When this bell, he's coming right at you.
Straight to you.
Man.
Straight to you. Turn that right hand loose and step around on him, baby.
Picking up on that conversation I was having with Emmanuel, in the recent history of the sport, when you look at fights where one fighter has been badly, sometimes permanently damaged, 2 constants seem to be part of the formula. Number 1, the opponent who is doing all the damage is a hard hitter but not a big enough puncher to put the opponent away. That's Chavez in this fight. Number 2, the guy who is getting worked over has his father in the corner as his trainer, constantly sending him back out to take more punishment. It's just a coincidence, we hope, that those 2 factors
the fight should be stopped.
I would have stopped the fight between
right now. Now.
Tony Weeks can stop
it
any
waiting
time,
on?
and he does.
Okay.
Thank Kevin.
Chavez still had energy going into the 11th round. After all that work, you got to give him credit.
An 11th round TKO victory for Jesus Chavez, who owned the fight from the very beginning. Thank Kevin. Referee Tony Weeks saw the reality and stopped the fight. In the last 3 rounds prior to that, Chavez had outlanded Johnson 117-31.
Yeah.
And almost all of them were very hard punches.
Yeah, the fight should have been stopped much, much sooner. But it's very difficult for the referee to do it. I think the cornerman in that case should have stopped that fight a few rounds earlier.
You seldom see a father stop his own son's fight. unfortunately. Let's take a look at a replay from earlier in the 11th round. This was Chavez banging away at the body to set up stuff like that. And this is what brought Weeks into range to begin looking more closely. It was at about this moment that all of us were getting a sickening feeling in the pit of our stomach. And of course, the discussion we were having is as painful as any you can have in the sport of boxing during a live fight. And thank heaven, after watching that shot and that shot coming up, that Tony Weeks decided to stop the fight.
But it was difficult for him to do it earlier because he was a champion, he was fighting back. But that was a case where the cornermen should have stopped it themselves because the referee really couldn't do it properly.
Let's go to Michael Buffer for the official particulars on the TKO.
Ladies and gentlemen, our referee Tony Weeks steps in and calls a halt to the contest. The official time, 38 seconds of round number 11. Now, a three-time world champion and new IBF Lightweight champion of the world, Jesus El Matador Chavez.
Great fight. Exactly half of his power shots in the fight. Larry Merchant stands by with the winner, Jesus Chavez.
Thank you very much, Jim. Congratulations, Jesus. You came to Las Vegas for the biggest gamble of your life. Was that in part an incentive for the way you fought from the opening bell?
I think it was. I felt very relaxed coming into the fight. All along, my training camp was very happy. I had a really good training camp, and Oscar's people treated me great. They certainly made me feel at home, and I feel real good. I feel good. I feel like a champ.
So no regrets about not taking twice as much money for beating Hernandez, a fighter you had already beaten soundly, in order to win this title?
Not at all. I think that I was here in Las Vegas at the MGM Grand for redemption, for my own redemption from losing to Eric Morales here at the MGM, and coming back over here and regaining my title.
What do you see in the future? Is it Barrera if he wins later tonight? Is it Morales down the road? Is it another lightweight title holder? Do you have any desire on your own?
I do. I have this desire to fight the best out there right now, either at lightweight or at super featherweight. I'm flexible.
Your wife is in Baghdad with the engineers, a lieutenant in the Army. She will see this fight on a delayed basis. Are you going to call her as soon as you get out of the ring to tell her what happened?
Without a doubt. The engineers, the 386, his motto is to reinforce and destroy. And that's exactly what I did with my body. I reinforced, I just destroyed. And this one goes out to the 386 in Baghdad.
Is she in more danger than you? Do you worry about her?
I do worry about her a lot. You know, she's out there fighting a war, and I'm fighting my own war here, earning a living with my two hands. And I can't wait for her to come back and celebrate with me.
Thank you again. Congratulations, Jesus.
Thank you, Mr. Merchant.
Jim?